It's time to get unmasked. Please welcome your host, Pamela Elaine Nichols and Cheryl A.S. Haley.
Welcome everyone to Unmasked Real Talk Live. Again, this is a place where Pam and I come where we get real about topics not often discussed openly. Each week on Unmasked Real Talk Live, we give you an opportunity to share your thoughts and opinions about the topic we unmask. You have our permission to get unmasked with us here so you can feel better, look better, and live better out there. Stay until the end and be eligible for a special raffle. Our special guest we have today will share what that raffle is. Every week we do a challenge based on the topic of this show. Last week's challenge was Get Connected. Each day we provided a tip that challenged you to identify your own feelings and inspire you to make a connection with someone in our group. We are so happy with the new connections that were made. Our new challenge starts today, Tuesday, and ends next Monday, the day before next week's live show. We want you to participate by sharing your feel-good goals specifically related to your health. Here's how it will go. Pam and I will drop the instructions in the morning for that day's challenge. The instructions will challenge you to identify one feel better goal related to your health. We will respond with a few tips and ideas. Please share in a post or a video about what lie you changed. For today's show, post your comments below and as we unmask today's topic. Ask your questions so we can laser coach you as we go along. Pam, you want to introduce today's topic and guest?
Yes, I do, sure. I am so excited to introduce our guest today. It's infrequent that we have guests on our show. So when we do have a guest, we're really particularly excited. And I want to first our topic for today and then our guest. The topic for today is self-care is healthcare. I think she already said that, right? Self-care is healthcare. And our special guest today will share her experience about self-care that she neglected and what to her health. She will also share her self-care practice that has turned her health around. Amanda Bedell. Hey, Amanda. Where is she? Wait. Okay, let me keep talking. So Amanda Bedell. Hello. Amanda Bedell is our special guest today. After 7 years of health challenges, Amanda was diagnosed with a malignant tumor 98% blocking her right lung. That was in September of 2020. Halfway through her 18-month treatment, she received a message from God to call her friend Nancy. Thank God for our friends.
Yes.
Who 5 years prior had shared information about products that feed the body and make the body come into balance. That was 15 months ago. Amanda's doctors were amazed as she healed 3 months earlier than expected. She's never looked back. Welcome, Amanda, to our show on Mass Real Live. Please say hello and then tell us a little bit more about your story. And correct me if I said anything about your story that was in your introduction that wasn't quite accurate, okay?
No, that was great. Thank you, Pamela. And Cheryl, it's a joy to be here. Thank you for having me. And it's a joy to have known Pamela. So I'm excited to be on this and share my story a little bit more. So those that are on the call are likely very similar to me because this is a human condition, but we get busy. We get really, really busy. And for me, I am a self-described workaholic in that I attach my value to my work. Or I used to attach my value to my work or my deliverables even. And so I was on the hamster wheel of work, and I was last. I've always been last. I'm picturing in the audience, there are mothers, there are fathers, there are people who have families in this room whom are likely doing the exact same thing. They're putting their children before themselves. And a lot of times, even though I don't have kids, I do know what it's like to put everyone else ahead of you. And that's what I did for most of my adult life. And in my 40s now, I'm really working to reprogram myself. So what I found was that, in creating the space too for being able to think and take care of yourself, your mind, your body, and your spirit, I have found that you get more clear. Your purpose comes brighter. You have more joy. But before I could get there, in 2015, right after I had built out a bakery business, I had started to feel weird symptoms. When I couldn't walk, I went from running marathons to barely being able to walk without being out of breath. I went through fainting spells, a lot of nausea, and the symptoms just got worse and worse. I had purple spots on my face, and I'd love to make a shout out to people who are listening right now, and maybe in the comments would you have gone and seen a doctor? Put a 1 in the chat for a yes or 2 for no.
If you had gone to see a doctor, if you had those spots?
Yep. If you had spots on your face, if you're
Yes.
fainting all the time.
Yes.
Like, would you have gone and seen the doctor?
Of course.
Yes.
Maybe. Yeah. Well, I went to boot camp instead.
Oh.
I thought that if I pushed through, like I was out of shape. I just needed to push through. You know how we have our body, symptoms just build on top of each other and it gets worse and worse. And because you live it, you don't see it fully. And so I'm a special kind of person in that I did see a doctor, but I never pursued it. So I would get these diagnoses that I didn't believe, like that I had asthma, that I had COPD at 30 something, and that I had acid reflux, things like that. So I didn't believe the doctors. I wasn't getting any answers from them. So I went straight to boot camp and instead just ended up like I fainted during class, and that was no good, and all kinds of things. So yes, continue to follow your gut and actually go to the doctor, but keep going to the doctor. So if you don't get the answer that you want, and it's just so hard in the system that we have. It's so expensive to keep going and keep trying these different drugs and doing these things. So I know I'm speaking to people who know what that's like. But let's flash forward to August 2020. So you all know what happened in March. The entire world shut down. I was in what was the epicenter at the time in Seattle, Washington, living downtown. And my folks were terrified because I couldn't breathe. They're like, this virus attacks the lungs and you're going to die. And I was like, I'm not going to die. But they did talk me into coming down to their house, which is in Oregon. And so I left Seattle with an overnight bag. I was going to stay there for a couple of weeks and actually ended up packing up that apartment here later in the story. Because when I got to my folks' house, they realized how bad my breathing really was, all of the symptoms that I was having. My heart rate would go up into the 200s and then crash into the 30s. Like my dad got me an Apple Watch and we were just monitoring all these things. And we had decided like, this is the year that you're going to figure out what this is. So I went to the doctors, even though it was COVID, I was able to, because of those symptoms, I was able to get into some doctors in Oregon, which was great. So it was August of 2020 that I was diagnosed with that malignant tumor.
So, I mean, you got this diagnosis. Did you equate it? I haven't been taking care of myself the way I should have. Or did that come way down the road in towards your dealing with the illness and recovery? Like, when did you have a aha moment? Like, I'm not taking care of myself.
I think I didn't realize what stress has really done to my body until later.
Mhm.
I was, once you get the diagnosis, which was also really weird to get during COVID because you got it over the phone, you're alone, you don't see the doctor's faces on really like, how are they, is this a good, I mean, is it an okay thing? Like, will I die? Like, it's just, it's, well, you have this, and now we're going to get you into surgery, and we're going to do this step and this step and this step. And so I went into triage mode and crisis mode. So it was just this step, then this step, then this step, then this step. And what happened was that I had complications throughout the entire time that I had been doing this. So I ended up back in the hospital quite a few times with a collapsed lung and different things that were happening to me. And so it wasn't until I was sitting, it was the seventh surgery, and I had to stay overnight. So I was alone in a quiet space that I had that realization or the whisper that said, you need to call Nancy, and you need to start taking care of yourself. So it did not happen right away for me, as far as caring for myself in this way that I thought, working out at boot camp was taking care of myself, or going to the spa is taking care of yourself. And really, we're so much deeper than that. So self-care is the mind, the body, and the spirit. So
Yes, yes, yes. You know, as I listen, as you're sharing, Amanda, about your story, and you said that it was until that point that you reached out to call your friend and said, I need to take better care of myself. Could you share with us what was your thought prior to that? I'm interested to know, what were you thinking as you were going through this process?
I was thinking I was doing everything that I could do. I was following the instructions of my doctors. But anytime I asked, there was one thing that was tugging at me.
Mm-hmm.
And it was every time that I asked, how can I prepare my body for these surgeries? How can I get to a point, get my body prepared?
Mm-hmm.
And that question was not something that my doctors knew how to answer. And, I was looking for, should I be eating more? I don't know, spinach. Should I, you know what I mean? Like, you're going to be cutting me open. Like, what should I do? Um,
Mm-hmm.
or for post surgery. And I mean, it's just asinine that, I mean, we have Jello and we have, these sugary things that we're told to eat, but we're not told to feed our bodies in a way that can help um, help the body rebuild.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we're not
You
taught that.
mentioned, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Nobody really takes that course. Nobody gets that course in life
Mhm,
unless you seek it. You
mhm,
talked about stress and you talked
mhm.
about lack of self-care. And if you had a malignant tumor that was 98%, you said, then this is something that had been going on for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
right? A long time.
7
And then
years.
finally, yeah, okay. Oh, wow.
Yes.
And it finally manifested itself in this way. And I'm just wondering if when it got bad, you were open to the voice to call your friend Nancy.
Mhm.
But 7 years prior to that, was there ever any inkling that maybe I need to slow down, or maybe I need to do a little bit better? Maybe I need to take care of myself a little bit. Maybe I need to eat differently. Anything, any small signs that you ignored back then that now you
Mhm.
can see you ignored?
Oh, yeah. I mean, many. So, I mean, as much as we're laughing at boot camp, that is one sign that I needed to take care of my body, maybe not push it to the brink of, fainting and pushing yourself so far. But the other, while you were speaking, I remembered, I had gone to the doctor quite a few times, getting X-rays and trying to find out what the answer was. And I did look at food first because I have celiac disease.
Mm-hmm.
So I had already had the problems of what that does to a body.
Yeah.
So going through an elimination diet is something that I had done before. So I had cut out, excess sugar, cut out coffee, cut out alcohol. By 2019, I had cut out all of that so that they couldn't say it was acid reflux. So they couldn't say that it was, GERD or anything else that's related to the gut. And I was trying to dwindle it down. You have to go through the triage even with your doctors, because they're going to start with, oh, it's hydration. Oh, it's this. Oh, it's, it's these simple things that they see every day. Whereas when you have a chronic illness, you have to dive deeper, which means that you have to have a relationship with your doctor and somebody who will, follow up with you and say, like, if this doesn't work,
Yeah.
then we need to go to the next step and the next step. And I think that's where my downfall was, is I never had that relationship built with someone that would go on the journey with me. Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Okay, so tell us how Nancy helped you. How did you get better? Because now you're really better. What happened?
Oh my God. It's totally different. Nancy had told me about a product line 5 years prior to my diagnosis. I had rejected it. So that's one of the lessons that I've learned through this whole thing is I ask myself a lot of times if I have a push of like, no, that's not for me. Or if I get triggered in some way with someone, I need to stop and open versus shut down. And because it's, where do I get myself in my own way? That's why I suffered for so long, was because I got in my own way. But in any sense, Nancy had shared with me these products. I had said, nope, that's not for me. I'm not interested. And so she just went into the background as a friend. She still touched base with me. But then when I called her and I said, I'm ready, she was there and she jumped in and shared with me exactly what I needed to do in order to get through my next surgery, which was 6 weeks from the one that I called her, where I was in overnight. So we ordered a series of products that were all about inflammation. So I was having a lot of inflammation and activity around that area where the tumor had been removed. I also had 8 lymph nodes removed, which, I mean, whenever you take anything out of your body has to adjust. So there's a huge period of healing, and it's trying to survive. So mine was, taking the inflammation is good. It's necessary because it was putting all of its energy to healing that area. But she then gave me a series of products that would help rebuild the muscles, rebuild the circulatory system, and deeply feed my gut, and flush out the medications too that I had in my body, along with anything that would be abnormal cells related. So we started that. I started right away. As I said, I lived with my folks, so I jumped into the deep end and I took a lot of different products to get better. And so I felt results really quickly. That, as I alluded to, I had a surgery 7 or 6 weeks after I had started taking Sunrider products. And that was, there was a huge difference between when I had surgery before and when I had surgery after taking the products. When I had surgery before taking the products, I was feverish and could not function at all. I had to just sleep, and then I was just so cold all day afterwards from the anesthesia. On that 7th surgery, when I came home, I was alert, I was awake. I actually even tried to work. Self-care is still in the background. Self-care is still in the background. My assistant was like, Amanda, you shouldn't have sent that email. And I read it later, and you shouldn't send emails when you're on drugs. It's just, no matter how good you feel. But I was alert. I was awake. Yes, I should have just, watched a show, which I did the next couple of times that I had 3 more procedures after I started Sunrider. But so it was just such a stark difference. My body bounced back. I didn't have the fever, and I felt more alert, and so that I could stay up the day. I didn't have to sleep all day and all night, and I didn't have to take any of my, they gave me was it Percocet or something like that, like crazy
Okay.
drug. And I didn't have to take any of those either.
Wow,
Good.
that's impressive. So it sounds like you went on a self-care regimen that included putting foods into your body that would help your body restore itself and help your body balance itself and help your body heal. So what you put in your mouth made all the difference. And I'm sure you were
Yes.
doing other supplemental things like maybe relaxing or meditation, but basically you translated self-care into what's going into my mouth, how's it impacting me, and you apparently put the right things into your mouth, this line of products that you're talking about that made all the difference. Yes.
Yes, I think everything I could see everything more clearly now that mind, body, spirit taking care of in the self-care package that is much more than just buying a spa day or going, like I said before, or going and working out. That when I move my body, it's super beneficial to move your body and to hydrate and so it was a combination of what I'm putting in, whole foods that are of various different nutrients, even more so than what we can get at our grocery stores. So it's kind of like like having a carrot, but having 50 carrots sprinkled on top. That's what I'm taking now.
Gotcha.
But it's organic carrots and, just like very high quality foods that deeply nourish the body. So it's not a supplement. I'm literally eating just like 50 salads, but taking it in a vial. You know what I mean?
Yeah, gotcha. Cheryl, do you want to read some of the comments we have, and then we'll get some takeaways from Amanda?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. One of the things as people were responding as you were sharing, Amanda, someone said a lot of people put off seeing doctors, particularly during COVID, for the last 2 years. And that was one of the concerns in the medical field, that they knew that people were not getting the care necessary. Also, someone said we have to shut down outside noises to hear our body
So
speak.
true.
And I believe firmly that our body speaks to us all the time, but look at what we have to shut down in order that we can hear what our body is saying. Also, someone said that I can do self-diagnosis quicker than a doctor.
Yeah.
Sometimes we feel that we can. Sometimes we feel that we can. And we use the internet for that purpose as well. And lastly, someone says, my body shut down when I had my stroke and went into a coma. Since then, I learned to take care of myself. And it's amazing. And I thank our friend for sharing that, because what happens sometimes, our bodies have to go through some of the challenges they do in order for us to say, you know what, I really need to be conscious about taking care of myself, mind, body, and spirit. So, those are some comments that people have put in there, and we're just so grateful for your sharing. We want to hear these takeaways that are powerful. Yeah.
Can you give us those pretty straightforward, Amanda? Because we want to make sure we have enough time for the beautiful raffle you have for people. Take it away.
I have 3 tips that I wanted to make super easy for anybody to follow for their lives to find this balance. One is nourishing your body with whole foods. So, and balance, that's many different foods. So when you go to the grocery store, maybe, or go to a farmer's market if you can, where you can find vegetables that you might not necessarily know how to cook. And then, connect with us if you want to know more about the Nourish products that I use. Number 2 is move your body at least 15 minutes each day. And I'm saying this even to those that have strokes or cannot walk. I'm not saying go to boot camp like I did. Because, with a collapsed lung, I wasn't able to move either. But, we're like, how can you move your arm and balance it out with this side? And so it's not about intensity, it's about consistency.
Love that.
Consistency is key when it comes to just keeping your body in balance. And with, lift up your legs, lift them back down, or sit at, if you can be on the floor, put your legs up above your head so that you can get better circulation or different circulation. It's very important. So, and then tip number 3 is if you can spend 1 minute after you wake up and 1 minute right before you go to bed to ask your soul and your body what it needs.
Mm.
And say, I would even maybe break that out into at night, just thank your body for everything that it gave you in that day.
Yeah, I
Even if
really
you've
like
got
that.
kids, you can do the 1 minute, lock yourself into the bathroom, put on a timer, and just empty, empty it out. Like, just focus.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah, I love that. That's really a
that.
good one. I like how you ask your body, like we tend, like women of faith, we ask God, and I think that's important to ask God. I think it's also important to ask yourself too, ask your own body, what
Yeah.
is it that I need? Because our body does in signs and symptoms, right?
Mhm.
That let us know that something is either off course or on course.
Mhm.
Okay, so
Mhm.
those are the tips. So can you tell us what is the wonderful raffle you have for us today?
So I have, let me get that in right. Sunfit 321. So this has been responsible for people um, to lose pounds.
Oh, okay.
So
So that's a
I
weight
have,
loss.
yeah, it's like a weight loss thing.
Uh-huh.
So I have 3 products in there. One is the protein powder, super
Oh,
easy to use. You can feel full. Even if you don't put anything else, like just mix it with water. It has a full balance of protein and carbs. And
Wait.
then,
Don't go back to that one. It looks like it says caramel macchiato. So it's
that
got a
one's
delicious
caramel
flavor.
macchiato.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So even when I'm super busy, I just pour this into my water bottle, shake it up, and you get all the nutrients you need. You don't need
Okay.
to add
What's the next
anything
one?
else. Fortune Delight. This is one that everyone should have, and even in your emergency kit, because it has many different uses. But in this case, this is perfect for fat flush. It's also a hydration, so it'll give you the electrolytes that you need for the day. So I
Okay.
take 2 of these in the
Great.
morning. And then the
All right.
last thing
Oh.
is Vita Taste. So this will block any simple sugars. So I have an ice cream addiction, and I have Vita Taste 5 minutes
Cheryl needs
before I have
that.
my ice cream, and then it blocks the sugar absorption so that I don't have the effects on my body.
All right. Well, let's throw the names in the raffle and let's spin and see if we can pull a name quickly. Oh. Wait, spin again, one. But I think try it one more time. Yeah. All right. Well, there you have it. Winetta, give us your email. I mean, give us your address, please. PM that to Cheryl and me. Let's see if we can get that raffle music to stop for a second. Yes, thank you. We are out of time. Winetta, please PM us your address. Amanda, thank you so much for being with us. Ladies who attended today, thank you so much. We love you. We'll see you the next time on UnMasked Real Talk.
yes. Next week. Yay!
And you can say that I'm crazy.